Welcome back to the Field of 12 College Football After Dark show. George Whitfield, Clint Sterner, Christian Hackenberg, and the pride of Baylor, Waco, Texas, Bryce Petty. Fellas, let's a lot to chop up. We already kind of got into it, but for those of you joining us, welcome. We hope you got something to sip on, hang with us. We're going to go through college football with you, make you stronger at the tailgate, barbershop, hair salon, etc. But fellas, let's go ahead and just take care of the quick business first. For all those who are with us, the primetime game, Notre Dame and USC, that is a fact. Notre Dame and USC got together tonight. They played. Anybody got any thoughts on the Trojans?
Yeah, I got a damn thought. How in the hell does Notre Dame take a knee inside the 10 when that's all my three-team parlays waiting on? What the hell is going on? Do I have a thought? Yeah. Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me, George? Yeah, I got a bunch of thoughts.
My man is looking for a suggestion box. Anybody got a suggestion box?
I'm trying to get me a man cave like Hack got. Yeah, God dang, I'm over here losing my goddamn rent on Notre Dame shit. God dang, do I have a thought?
Oh man. Noted. Noted. Yep. I'd like to know about his parlay.
I did hear that Brian Kelly's really good at responding to his Twitter. So that might be something that if you wanted to, you threw it up there.
Yeah. I'd let him know. I'd write him a nice note.
Hey, that's not mention. He's executing people, man. I don't want no part of messing with Chip Kelly or whatever the hell his name is.
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly will punch that Twitter.
They related somewhere down the stretch.
Like Ray Guy. So Hack, anything riveting, any thoughts? Do you want to park here at that Notre Dame SC game or shall we pick up a little bit of speed?
I feel bad for Clint, shit. My guy. Yeah, you need some at some point you need to put some flavor on the end of these wins every once in a while, especially Notre Dame in their situation. So maybe I understand that. I understand the pain and I understand the thought process there. But other than that, yeah, they just played. I think, George, you covered it.
Well, good. So congratulations to the Irish pulling that game out. All the primetime viewers, it's time to go to work. Man, we got a lot of work to get covered. For those of you that's just joining us, or those of you that's been with us before, we have our own tradition here at the After 12 show. We do a toast. And sometimes, Bryce, what do you call that when we throw something out if we don't like
toss the toast,
or we toss a toast?
We have one. We have a toast and a toss.
We have a toast and a toss. So right off the gate, we need to pay homage to the godfather of college football, Mr. Lee Corso, who is down here in Westwood, LA today. Coach. And let's start with
you got to get off the dating apps, brother. We got toast to do.
Hey, Tinder's a beast.
My man's thumb is working.
Bro.
Let's start with Christian Hackenberg. Hack, what's your toast for the day?
Oh man, I'm toasting to the Nittany Lion faithful sorrows tonight. I was watching Twitter explode. A couple of those media guys. I'm right there with you guys. I'm right there with you. So I'm toasting to the sorrows of the Nittany Kitties of Happy Valley right now.
Let's go, Clint.
That's what they played like.
The Nittany Kitties.
Clint, we're going to you, sir.
I don't need no help speeding this thing up, Chief.
No, I'm saying it's your turn for the toast, sir.
Okay. I got you. Hey, here's the deal. I got to go with my guy Brett Bielema, man.
Oh, hey, nice.
I look. Hey, Hack. You had my back on that BS bet I just lost. I love you, brother. Our relationship is off to a great start, man.
I like
it. Here's the deal. This is nothing personal to you. I know Brett Bielema personally. I personally like the guy. He's a guy that I could break good bread with, maybe sip a little tequila with. But here's the deal. What coach in America 7 days ago, I don't know if it was 7 days ago, it might have been within the week's window here, can say he ain't getting no production out of his 2 deep. Basically throw his entire 2 deep depth chart under the bus and then come out and beat the number 7 team in the country.
On the road.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on,
Hey.
Brett Bielema.
Brett
This one right
Bielema.
here is for you.
What's
brother.
up, Coach?
Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Petty, sir.
Hey,
It's
man,
to you.
I tell you what, this is why I think, and I have lobbied so that we do tell each other our toast before here, because I just wrote down a lot of good things about Brett Bielema, and that was, you took it, which is totally fine. I'll go with their quarterback, and we talked about this before. I think it's not a cousin of Mike Switowski,
Arthur
but
Sikowski.
there you go. Thank you. Tomato. My man goes 8 of 19 for 38 yards and a touchdown, but he gets a win against a top 10 team. Arthur Switowski, man, toast to you. That's just a great day at the office. Great day at the office.
And so first, I'm gonna back up Clint here for a second. I'm with you. Love Bielema. Long time back when I was 21 years old, I was a GA at Iowa, and Brett Bielema was the linebacker coach. We were the only 2 bachelors on the staff, whole staff. And he used to come into the building every day laced up. Everybody else is wearing a hoodie, a tee. This dude's wearing mock turtlenecks, slacks, let the chain fall on top in the football building. And I remember one time I'm asking him, I'm like, I don't really know shit. I'm like, Coach, why you always come in here like to try to kill him all the time? And he goes, you never know if today's going to be the day she come around the corner. And it was like the biggest, that stuck with me for years. But my toast is going to the ACC. I'm splitting it. Kenny Pickett and the Fighting Pitt Panthers, and also Dave Clawson and Wake Forest. I always get sick of teams saying nobody thought about us. They didn't talk about us. They don't care about it. And we're not really supposed to until you do something. When bodies start falling around you, then we got to pay attention. But right now, Pitt knocking out a monster, even that monster's kind of toothless, and Wake Forest. Fellas, Wake Forest, we're a week from Halloween. Wake Forest is undefeated. So,
boy, they hang 70 today. It's
70.
Army, but they hung 70 today.
So to Coach Clawson and Wake Forest and to the Pitt Nation, toast, sir, toast.
Love it.
All right, let's
Can
jump right
I
in.
piggyback your comments here about Bielema there?
100%, 100%.
Clearly, the mock neck, and what'd you say? The chain what?
He let that every now and again, if he had a button or two, he let that chain relax on top. That
Drop
was nice.
on top, I think is what you said. That's what I was looking for. I didn't want to steal it. I will use that this week on radio in Houston, by the way. But it clearly worked, because I don't know if you've seen Jen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But about 2 years into his, whatever you want to call it, he did at Arkansas. There was a photo started circulating around the state of him and his beautiful bride, all due respect. I love them both, on a boat in Hot Springs on Lake Hamilton. And boy, I tell you what, if it's a mock neck and a gold chain dropped over the top, he did a good job. My man, like many of us do, we outkicked our coverage, and Bielema damn sure did that. He ought to be the poster child for that, actually.
And he got a win against Penn State tonight. Once again.
That too. I love you, Brett. And Jim.
Brett Bielema. Hey, so let's rock on this here. Oklahoma, who, if you wrote the story of college football and you were like, which one would a Hollywood writer want? We gave them all these teams and laid them out on the table. Which one would Steven Spielberg dive after? Right now, to me, it's Oklahoma. So we can talk about them. Penn State. Everybody in the Midwest is like, come on, get through this shit. Let's go. We're going to go after them. And then Clemson and Pitt. Let's start with Oklahoma. And I'm going to go down there with you, Clint. The Oklahoma Sooners, who we've been watching, rock and roll, catch a little turbulence, catch a little air, come back, run down the Longhorns, go up here, and their back is on the ground against Kansas. Still undefeated. They got a megawatt star, and they just barely escaped today. They had exact change to get through Lawrence. They had to turn their pockets inside out to get through Lawrence. What are we supposed to make of the Sooners?
Well, first of all, let me address this. That play that everybody's going on about, that should have been blown dead, man.
Should have.
How so?
The damn running back took 4 steps going backwards before he handed the ball forward to the quarterback.
Well, possible.
I don't know. I mean, look, this may be my Arkansas blood talking, but I don't know if y'all saw that bull BS call last week against Auburn when literally the forward momentum stopped because the defensive lineman was dumping him backwards. Like, only thing that went backwards was when the D-line was dumping him, and he fumbled, and they said forward progress stopped, no fumble. This cat took 4 steps backwards and hands the ball forward to the quarterback on 4th down, and he goes and gets a first down, and it's going to be the damn play of the week on SportsCenter.
But Clint, was it a great play though? Yes or no? Refs aside, was it a baller play?
Hey, and I'll go ahead and answer that for you, Clint. You better lift the eyebrows up off the nose because back in '92 when you were over there wheeling and dealing in Fayetteville, if you would have pulled up that play, oh my gosh, you wouldn't have had to buy a beer all night. That's one of the most heads up. That dude said, "Give me the ball."
Yes,
he said, "Give me the ball."
Preach.
Well, look, I picked up my eyebrows. I'm gonna get these. I'm gonna get them lit. I'm getting a plastic surgery chair.
You were waiting. You were wanting it. You were like, "Nah, man,
the dude's great. I hope he gets free drinks. Hell, he don't need no free drinks. He's got $1 million worth of NIL deals. Hell, I mean, look, it was a great play. It was a heads-up play. No question. It should be on SportsCenter. But ref, do your damn job. Kansas has got OU on the ropes, man.
Yeah,
that is clearly that play. That was clearly forward progress. That should be on the referee's teaching tape next year. That forward progress had stopped. I mean, 2 steps before it all happened.
But Clint, I'm gonna fast forward you. They're undefeated. They're undefeated. Should they still, if you're a Sooner fan, should you still be making reservations to the playoffs right now?
Hell no. You got work. You got work to do. You got a whole lot of work to do. And here's the deal. Your biggest 3 games, and I know this is coach speak, but I'm looking at the schedule, so it's true. The biggest 3 games of OU season is ahead of them.
In front of, yeah.
That's right. Baylor, what did I say? I said ahead of them, didn't I?
Yeah.
Baylor.
I speak gibberish, I know, so I appreciate you cleaning that up.
No,
Baylor, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State. And I know Oklahoma State hit a little bump today, but those are the 3 best football teams. Correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody out there disagrees, those are the 3 best football teams on their schedule.
The conference.
They got a whole lot of work to do. So I'd pump those brakes, and I'd pay that extra $100 in 3 weeks to make that hotel reservations instead of saving $100 and making them today. If it were me.
Hey, Hack, can they run the table? Can Oklahoma get through Clint's gauntlet? He did lay out a gauntlet for that conference.
He definitely did. Here's my thing, man. Like, if you've paid attention to college football, I mean, nobody's safe at any point in time. Nobody's safe.
Preach.
So, to me, I mean, it's just worked out this year. But to me, Oklahoma has consistently put themselves in the situation they were in today with teams that they traditionally have never done that with. You go back through this whole season, Tulane, the list goes on. They were getting blown out by Texas. If Texas had any bit of kill, finish, sick 'em in their blood, they'd have won that game. So to me, Oklahoma just hasn't had that. They're undefeated. If they somehow squeak it out, I think it's going to be tough for them not to make it to the playoff. But I do completely agree with Clint. I think Iowa State showed something today. I think that train's finally starting to get back on the tracks and start moving in the right direction. Bryce's Baylor Bears down there always got something going. I think they're moving in the right direction as well. And I just don't think that they're going to have the luxury to do what they did today for the next few weeks and expect to be able to walk out of there with a win and be clean. So they got to clean things up. I think specifically on the defensive side of the ball. I think offensively they'll be all right, but on the defensive side of the ball, they need to clean some stuff up, and that's been the case the whole year.
Bryce Petty, does the fate of the Big 12 being represented in the playoffs rest in Norman, Oklahoma?
I mean, I think your knee-jerk reaction has to be yes, right? I mean, they're undefeated team. You can say what you want, but this is actually, I mean, look, it's hard to go undefeated. And like Hack said, I mean, everybody can get got. I mean, that's the thing about it. So they are winning, and that's what I hate when I have to listen to Trevor talk about it. But that's what he keeps saying, and it's true. This league is about wins. It's about, can you finish the game? And they do what they need to do to finish. Now, these 3 games coming up, or at least the 3 that Clint had mentioned, are going to be really tough. They're going to have to stop beating themselves, which they inevitably do every week, but then they just get it going when they need to. So I think it does. I think to your question, I think it does run through Norman, as it should, with all this expectation, all the talent. Lincoln Riley, again, is a killer, not only on the field, but off the field and recruiting. He's got to figure out a way to put a defense on the field. I don't know the last time that Kansas has ever, in terms of just total yards, put up more yards than anybody. And they had 412 yards, and the Oklahoma Sooners had 398 yards.
Wow.
Man.
Big George, I'm looking at it though, fellas. Here's the deal, man. That OU Oklahoma State game is it looks like, now if everything holds true, that what the hell they call that game? What is that rivalry game?
Bedlam game.
Bedlam. There you go. I knew that old smart, that old sharp ass. I knew he'd have it.
Yes, sir.
That OU Oklahoma State game, boys, that thing's shaping up to be something serious. Because if Oklahoma State can upset OU at the end of the year, hey man, they're right in the thick of things, and they win the Big 12. That could be.
But to your point, this is what's going to be interesting, though. This is what's going to be interesting, though, because before they even get to that game, in 3 weeks, they go down to Waco. Okay, now Waco went up to Stillwater and got beat. Okay, if they come down to Waco and get beat, now you have 3 one-loss teams in the Big 12. Oklahoma still has to go up to Ames, and then they still have to play the Bedlam game. So there is a real play here that OU starts out this season, going through Norman, what we just talked about, and then it dies in Norman too. So it's going to be real interesting to see what happens the tail end of October and then the start of November before that Bedlam game even happens.
To me, if Oklahoma runs the table up until Bedlam and the Cowboys beat the Sooners, the whole southern part of Ohio is jumping up and down, because that means Cincinnati is now in. To me, 2 SEC teams.
Got to get off the bus and
jump out.
You said, well, no, 2 SEC teams, a Big Ten champ, and then there's a 4th seat. So a 1-loss Big 12 champ, I don't think is going to knock out an undefeated Cincinnati. Not with the body of work they've been putting forward.
Man, you crazier than the outhouse rat. You kidding me?
We'll break it down then.
The college football play. You watching the same committee that I'm watching?
Yeah.
Man, the Jokers. We talked about this, damn it, George. You had a couple weeks away from it now. We talked about this.
You
know them Jokers are going.
Spice on that steak is finally starting to burn the tongue on George. Listen to him talk about Cincinnati getting over a 1-loss.
Clint, man. Hey,
so Clint,
you let a one-loss OU team. Could that happen? Yeah, I guess it could happen. You let a 1-loss OU team be sitting right there next to them and watch with that college football play. I hope I'm dead ass wrong. I hope I'm dead wrong. But watch that college football. Watch that committee.
So
Cincinnati in
the committee, if somebody's in the committee and they say, Oklahoma, what's your best win? What's Oklahoma's best win this year? Running down Texas from behind?
No, it ain't happened yet.
I don't know about it right now. Yeah, they got 3 games left to put that on.
Cincinnati goes to Notre Dame, wins by 2+ touchdowns. They go to Wisconsin, got a strong win. They went up against another Indiana team.
Thank you.
But that Notre Dame team is still ticking. Notre Dame's only loss this year is to the Cincinnati Bearcats. Hey, but to put a point on this Oklahoma game, like I'm watching Kansas, and I was born in Wichita, Kansas, and I called my dad, and I was just like, Kansas nearly carjacked Oklahoma, but they couldn't drive stick. Like, you're up 10, and you couldn't even just come on home with that. That would have set that whole campus up. Before we move on, let me get you guys set up on Bet Rivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up on Bet Rivers yet, Now is the time because they're offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. But what sets them apart is that they require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. With the new Rush Pay Instant Approval, approved by Clint, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable than ever before. With football season kicking off, get in on the action by going to betrivers.com today or downloading BetRivers iOS app. You must be 21 years old or older. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we're taking care of some of the business. Now let's jump. We took care of the Big 12. Now, if you don't mind, let's swing over to the Big 10. We had some more fallout today. The number 7 team in the country, it felt like they just had to take care of basic business, inviting Illinois in, take everything from them, send them home, get on about your business. It didn't go that way. 9 overtimes, and everything in the state of Pennsylvania shocked out. Hack, I'm just going to give it to you, man. Break it down today, what you saw from your boys.
Yeah, man. I mean, Clifford didn't look healthy.
Interesting.
I think that was definitely a knee-jerk thing to get him out there. I don't know who made that decision, but you could tell by the way the game was called that there was some hesitancy with putting him in situations where he may have to take a hit. The one thing that we talked about before we got on here, and I'll stand behind this, I think the offensive line has done a very, very poor job being violent at the line of scrimmage. And for the amount of time that Coach Franklin has had up there to get some guys in there with a little shit to them and some want to dominate the line of scrimmage, it just really hasn't come to fruition. I think they got the backs to be able to have a halfway decent running game, and it hasn't happened all year. And really, I think today was just accumulation of all their deficiencies catching up to them. And, you know, we talked about it. Hats off to Illinois and Bielema coming in there and just staying in the fight. And they took some punches. They didn't really do too much offensively that was fancy. The one thing I think that really hurt Penn State and that hasn't been talked enough about is PJ being hurt, big D tackle. That kid was kind of the anchor point for that defensive line. It's a really athletic defense, but they don't have a ton of size. When you get some downhill running game, they've struggled with that, you know, even going back to the Wisconsin game. So to me, like I said, it was accumulation of all their deficiencies kind of catching up to them. And just like,
this is my thing. This is my thing. You are, I know where you sit at. But my thing is, James Franklin needs to come in there at halftime, and I'm talking about like rallying the troops. Like, what are we doing? It doesn't really matter who is out there. This was a team 2 weeks ago, Hack. If you remember, we were running on the schedule going like, damn, they got a gauntlet. But I mean, every one of us. It wasn't Illinois. We didn't even look at it.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't Illinois. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is the same team that just thumped Auburn. So to me, I'm sitting in this locker room going, man, what happened? And this was what's really unique. And I actually talked about on game day today about how important your backup QB is, because you hit it at, Hack, is the fact that they put Clifford out there probably injured, because they're like, damn, I don't know if we can get
confidence
game.
in number 2.
That's oh my gosh.
Well, the thing is their number 2 is
really
starting for the Kentucky Wildcats, right?
Correct.
And that's the thing.
There's issues definitely within how the development of everything has gone and putting things in place to be able to handle depth issues and things of that nature. So I don't really know who you could put it on, but all I'm gonna say is
I'm laughing at Clip, because Clip's like loading the clip.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm waiting.
I'm waiting.
Can I get
I'm just sitting
turn? Hey,
I'm just sitting here. Hey, I'm just
Roman Reigns is coming out of WWE and he's just holding that belt.
Go ahead.
I'm disappointed and I'm hurt as a Penn State Nittany Lion. I'm
it sounds like
disappointed
you
and
just
I'm hurt.
wrote a whole script.
Hey,
That's
hey,
fair.
I
That's
got
fair.
some,
Disappointed and I'm
hey,
hurt.
Hack, there's a dude named Mike Ryan. He is a Texas country music singer. If you want to call it Red Dirt, that's fine. He's got this song called "Dancing All Around You." And you strike me as a guy that would really appreciate that song. But I think it applies to this situation.
Dancing
If
all
you're gonna
around.
play, here's the deal. If I was an SEC guy, I don't know much about the Big Ten, but I do know this: if your ass is gonna compete in the Big Ten, you better be able to play offensive line.
Oh
if
yeah.
your ass is gonna win ball games at Penn State, I know I play with a bunch of dudes in Europe, in the league, all over the place. All over the place. Kurt Warner wasn't no damn journeyman quarterback. I was a journeyman quarterback. 2 years in Europe, I played Penn State linemen everywhere. I don't care if they were big, small, white, black. I don't care where they were from. They were nasty son bitches.
Yep.
Hey man, you said it. You went right through all that. That's all pretty. But when you hit that offensive line, doesn't want to be physical. Whoa. Come on, man. You got to give me more on that. Are you kidding me?
No, Clint. Clint. Look, he's worried about retweets right now. He's got a show. We got to stick to our faithful.
Come on, man.
Listen, man.
He's pushing the button.
Straight up.
I don't know.
Penn State is a blue collar. Penn State's a blue collar.
Come
school.
on.
The Big Ten is a blue collar physical conference.
Yep.
Point blank. Traditionally speaking, that's what they hang their hat on. That's what everybody does. Ohio State does it every year. Michigan's doing it this year. They haven't done it traditionally. They haven't done it in the past few years. They've done it in the past. The dogs of the Big Ten have hung their hat on being physical. Penn State has had it for
decades,
35, 40 years, going back to it. It hasn't happened since James Franklin got to Penn State. Up front, they haven't played with a tenacity and a nastiness after the sanctions, when all the excuses of depth and getting guys in there and all that stuff. He's had now 3 or 4 recruiting cycles. And to me, these guys just haven't panned out up front to be able to command.
I would push back a little bit, and all respect to you as a Lion. This year's offensive line, don't let that paint the whole James Franklin run, because remember, they had a kid named Saquon Barkley who was coming downhill. He wasn't moving humans out on his own.
I'm going to keep it a beam with you, though. I'm going to keep it a beam with you, though. That kid was a generational talent. He was a generational talent,
but they were coming downhill on Ohio State, Michigan State, all those teams. That showdown in Columbus that year was the 2 top 5 teams. This year's offensive line, to me, it's a sore spot, but I wouldn't say the whole duration, because Penn State, it's not like they're a passing program.
Name an All-American Big Ten name an All-American that's played the offensive line at Penn State, and then go back and look at it. How many of those guys have had All-American guys up front in the history of Penn State, traditionally speaking, up front? All-Americans. Name an All-American from Penn State in the last 6 years. Don't worry, I'll wait.
Let me call Chris Felica real quick.
Where's the Bear when we need him? Where's Bear when we need him?
We live on. Hey Bear, we're live on. I'll call you back. I'll call you right back. Chris Felica said there's been a couple.
So listen, there's guys up there. There's guys up there, and like I said, it's hard. You can't sit there and because of everything that happened up there with the sanctions and the depth issues. There's a period of time where that's gone. But I'm saying in the last 3 years with James, 2-3 years. You've now had the opportunity to recruit guys and get guys up there. You're winning. Everything's going the right way. You have zero excuses to not get guys up there that can get the job done up front. And to me, they haven't had it. Haven't had it.
I see your point on the O-line, and then I go to the quarterback room, and you already made the point, Hack. When he was healthy, he wasn't always a consistent passer. Now, he was a reliable playmaker, but Clint, you know the difference. Dudes can make plays, pull the ball down, scramble, get me in and out of a bad play. But on 3rd and 12, can I count on you? Can I count on you on 3rd and 12? I mean, they got us matched up. Can you be the difference maker as a passer? Okay, so we know what he is. Then Bryce touched on it. Their number 2 is at Kentucky. Where's the development? 3 is now 2, and we saw what happened in Iowa. We had 2 weeks to get this rascal ready. They did not trust the youngster to host Illinois at home. We got the gauntlet coming in front of us. So they put in Clifford. I don't even know what percentage you'd put him at, Hack. Not 100. And then we still couldn't get past Illinois.
But here's the deal, G. I agree with everything that both of you guys are saying, but here's the deal. What year is this for Franklin, Hack?
5, 6,
14. 5? He was 14 was his first year.
So golly, he's sitting on 8. He's sitting this year 8, right? If my math is right.
7, 8.
I mean, year 8 in. If you're not in college football, man, if you can't identify a quarterback every year and develop those guys to where you don't put yourself in a position where you get your starter hurt and then your backup goes in there and looks like he's never played football before other than being a good athlete. And your offensive line doesn't have that dog in them across the board. To me, it's one of them deals like at that point in time, we can point, well, the O-line coach, or there's transfers, or well, so-and-so got hurt. But developing quarterbacks and having a mean-ass offensive line, that goes through a depth chart, man. In my opinion. Like if I got I'm gonna tell you I'll speak from my perspective.
If you're a GM, if you're a head coach, that's how you're building your team.
Hey, Hack, if I was James Franklin right now, and my starting quarterback went down against Iowa, and I trot a kid out there that looks like a deer in headlights when he takes a snap.
Bad.
Yeah. That ain't on a kid. That's on me, man.
Yeah,
you can recruit as many quarterbacks as you want a year. And when you got that Nittany Lion flag flying outside, you roll out the red carpet. You got the upper hand. There is no reason, absolutely no reason to not be able to develop too deep on the quarterback quarterback depth chart, guys you can depend on.
But I got to talk to you, Clinton, the people at home. Penn State had that guy. They groomed him, raised him. They found him in high school. They got him up there. His name is Will Levis. In the offseason, now that the portal, you can move for any reason. He was happy at Penn State. They loved him at Penn State. Kentucky reached out. Come down and lead us. You want a ball in the Big Ten? Clifford is our guy. I'm 2 here. I can be 1 over there. That's not on Penn State. That's just how the market is moving. So in the spring, if your guy hops up, or the summer, and he says, you know what? I can't miss on this SEC opportunity. I can lead now, or I can keep being the number 2 guy here. Coach, I'm riding. Good luck. And out he goes. That was my number 2. They had him for 3 years. They had Clifford. They had a succession plan, and the market took their 2. If you go to any team in the country and yank their 2 off the team and throw him in as a starter someplace else, a lot of people are going to be in the same hole Penn State is right now.
Here's the thing, though, George. Penn State has had 3 offensive coordinators. Clifford's been through three or 4 offensive coordinators since he's been there.
That's true.
So to your point, I understand the market, right? If Clifford goes in the summer, now you got all training camp. You had all season. You had a bye week. And I get it. I've been in the situation. I understand who gets the reps and how they get it. But you got however many months that is up until this point to get a guy ready.
Thank you.
And they didn't do it. But I will give the excuse to saying that there has been so much turnover, right? So now you got a new guy calling plays from last year. You're getting your starter all the reps you can get because he's got to get familiarity with him. And there's an issue there with all that. So the market didn't help it. And I think also the amount of turnover that happened within this coaching staff has not helped it. And that was just the perfect storm, man. That was the perfect storm that screwed everything up.
This is my thing though. You cannot, to your point, you cannot have a guy go through spring, summer, 100%. And fall camp and go, I just don't know if he has it in him. You got to be able to know if to kick and throw the ball. Right. Development aside, to Clint's point, executing the offense is one thing. Being able to throw is a whole other thing.
Yeah,
and
but
if I'm sitting here looking at my guy going, man, my guy can't even hit a 5-yard hitch route without struggle busting, my eyes are going somewhere else and going, hey, who's the number 2 that we can pick up? Oh, yeah, Greg May Chevrolet up here in Pennsylvania. How about you throw a couple dollars to this backup QB, get him in this system, and then that way I know who I've got taken care of, because what we have seen is that if you do not have a quarterback, you do not have a team. And we already know what has happened in this transfer portal. If you don't get it done in week 1 and week 2, you're out. I got to go somewhere else. Yep. That's just what you do not have the luxury anymore, or the luxury anymore of struggling. That ain't happening anymore.
But let's be honest. Hack, Clint, Bryce, as starters in the quarterback room, you could look around the room and say, damn, I like the number 3 guy. You cool. We gonna ride wings later. But you know you've had guys in the room that when they finally get that at bat, they squeeze that shit down to sawdust. They don't know what they're doing out there. Sometimes it's on the man. Yes, we're holding the system accountable. We're holding the program accountable. We're holding the staff accountable. But if a guy goes down there and pisses straight down his leg,
yeah,
you've been in practice. We have invested meetings in you. You got to step forward. You got to come on. You got to come on.
I got a question for you, G. I got a question for you, G. You've lived in the quarterback space, a well-respected life in the quarterback space. If I gave you 4 years to recruit America with a top 10 program on your chest, you can walk in anywhere you want, and you're down to the final 2 with damn near any quarterback you want to recruit. You gonna tell me in 4 years you can't be too deep that can go out there and do better than you saw that backup do against Iowa a couple weeks ago? If I'm wrong, back me up. I'm good, but you tell me. I can do better next year.
So, all right, respectfully, you're wrong, but not because you're wrong, but it's because the mentality of today's kids, and now I sound like some kind of old man, is different.
It is.
So, Clint, if I go out, I have a warlord as my starter. I have an up-and-coming alpha as my 2, and I come to your neighborhood and get the best kid in your city, and I say, listen, you got a scholarship to Penn State. He looks in my quarterback room and says, ain't no easy route to getting there. Those dudes are 1 and 2 years older than me. That means I got to wait to get my opportunity. I ain't coming there. So you're not, and so any other situation, if my 2 quarterbacks aren't sitting in that room, I get that guy, no problem. But I'm not gonna skip over the 2 dudes I have in the building. So then I gotta go down a tier. Who else wants to come in here and compete?
What did Oregon do? What did Oregon do?
In terms of what?
Going to get a quarterback.
Oh, they hopped.
They went East Coast. They went. That's what I'm saying that you do now because of the environment that you're in and what you're talking about. My eyes are not only downstairs in high school. I'm scoping 100%. I'm scoping every
other
year.
teams. Other teams.
But guys, we're talking. And I know we got to move on, George. But I mean, look, I understand the dynamic of the portal, and I understand the dynamic of young kids right now, and I understand that if we're talking about like a school that's recruiting 5-star on top of 5-star on top of 5-star on top of 5-star, and there's a traffic jam at the top. All I'm saying is there's no excuse for the extreme of what is going on at Penn State. Does it happen? Sure. But if you lose one guy to the portal, should the gap between your starter and your second string be a guy that can't function in a basic game plan versus an older player that gives you a chance to win a national championship? Should the gap be that big? I mean, to me, I feel very confident that I could close that gap is all I'm saying from a development standpoint.
And before we jump, Clint, to your point on the merit of the question, you're right. But if you earned your way to Penn State as a scholarship player, and you're in here now, and you made every meeting, you made every lifting session, you took every piece of coaching you could possibly get, and you've been here now. That kid's not a true freshman. He's like a sophomore, I think, right, Hack? You've been there now at least 2 years. You can get around campus. You can go in an O-line meeting and know what they're talking about. You know what your quarterback coach expects. And you're supposed to come to games with the today could be my moment mentality. don't come there and chop it up on the sideline and yuck it up and looking up in the stands because it's Iowa. Keep your mind ready. And when they do call your number, at a minimum, you should be able to get us out of the huddle, off the line of scrimmage. We don't need it. You can't run what Clifford does, but you got to at least get us down the runway. So some of that has to sit with the man himself. Some of that's got to sit with the man himself. Hey, let's jump now because I'm really curious to where you guys want to go with this one. A big game for not so obvious reasons took place tonight in Pittsburgh. Clemson hosting Pitt. That's kind of the Roman army of the ACC. Shouldn't even really give them that title, but they have been.
They were part of the five families.
Yeah, they're one of the five families. You're right, Hack. Clemson limps into Pittsburgh. They do not get out of it. Trickett does what he does. Fifth-year senior. I do want to come back around that. Clemson, no answer, no punchback, no counter, no juice, no out pitch, nothing to hang their hat on. And it looked inevitable. After the first two series, you're like, wow, Pitt really is going to just take care of this business. No rally, no fight on the sidelines. But I want to talk about the game, and I'm going to give it to you guys. But there was the performance of Pitt's quarterback, and there was the breakdown post-game from Clemson's benched quarterback. Let's just go into it. Hack, I'll go with you since that's in your neighborhood.
Well, no, listen, I'm gonna let Bryce go ahead on the whole DJ post-game thing. But here's what I'm gonna say. After week one, you're watching Clemson. Offensively, they struggle. However, to me, defensively, they had a bright spot. Yep. And with the strength of the ACC and where the ACC was at, after week one, you watch Miami get absolutely trumped by Alabama. Florida State's down. I mean, really name another ACC team. North Carolina, disappointed. You keep going down the line. Virginia Tech, disappointed. You keep going down the line, right? So, to me, Clemson had a defense that could keep them in any game within their conference, where if they had gone from the Georgia game and just one ugly, one like Oklahoma, one ugly through the ACC, their track record would have given them a chance to have a slip into that college football playoff, even with piss poor offensive play, which they've had. The defense has let that football team down. As bad as the offense has been, if you're gonna sit there and be the thing, I thought that defense had a lot more juice in it than they've shown throughout the year. I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody else that's come out and done anything against them. NC State, Leary lit them up. Now Pickett's lit them up. I just think that defense has. Hold
on. Let me run you through this real quick. Hold on. So you got 10 points given up by Clemson's defense to Georgia. 3 points, 8 points, 27 points into State.
I'd say they held up.
One. Yeah, 13 points, 14. I mean, how do you let somebody? They haven't let up 3 touchdowns outside of the NC State game and this Pittsburgh game yet. I mean, how?
But to Hack's point, the defense was the strongest suit. And when did we decide that? After the Georgia game? Because they had all these all-stars coming in. They got $1 million players over there.
The last 6 years, the last 7 years. Okay, on that topic, what you guys are talking about, the defense has been. When have you ever not? The first thing that comes to your mind is if it's not Dabo Swinney, it's Trevor Lawrence. If it's not Dabo Swinney, it's Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
it is never a defense. Now their defensive intervals, man, they put.
But their defense has been phenomenal, bro.
Exactly. I'm not saying they weren't.
But they played from a lead, though, Hack. They played from a lead.
I mean, you got some unbelievable. Again, personnel at the QB position that I think right now they have a very, very wondering identity. They have no idea what just happened. And Dabo's career there, they've never had this bad of an identity crisis in that room to go. I mean, it's like a slap in the face. Like, I mean, it's going to take them 6 games, a fall, a summer, a spring to figure out, okay, what just happened. Yeah, I mean, and this is a great point, and especially a catalyst or I guess another conversation off the Penn State, but talk about a brand. I mean, hell, you had Dr. Pepper come in and give this dude $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, this is supposed to be, you know, hey, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, DJ, right?
I agree. Hey, I agree with you. I agree with
Yeah.
you. My only point being though is with understanding that the deficiency in offense and their struggles right now, to me, that defense has the capability to be on par with a Georgia that we've been talking about, that they've been going head to head with, right? And you see Georgia's defense just in a completely different conference with a completely different set of offensive weapons that they're playing week in, week out.
Yeah.
My point is the level of competition that they're seeing in the ACC. I expected that defense to be able to keep them in more football games.
But Hack,
and not give them.
I'm gonna give it to you, Clint. But Hack, Georgia
be dominant.
Georgia's defense can come to the sideline and watch their offense go 10 plays, 14 plays, 16 plays.
Yeah,
we can regroup.
It's a great point.
We could come back fresh. Here we come.
Point.
Clemson, especially with DJ at the helm, 3 and out. We just was out there for 15 plays. We're back out there again. 3 and out again. Turnover again.
Point.
It almost doesn't matter who you're playing. If you're playing the lion's share of reps and you're running guys down and you're always in bad positions and field position sucks, like you could be a lion as a lion, but if you're a lion at the edge of a volcano, like it really don't matter. It really don't.
It's a great point.
In some of that. Yeah, and they have some injuries, but you're right. If you count up to 5 stars in America's defensive locker rooms, Clemson's 1, 2, or 3. They're sitting 1, 2, or 3. Hey, Clint.
Yo.
I'm gonna throw you.
Oh, I'm wide awake. I'm just trying.
Look, I'm gonna throw you a 2-play check. You take one, the other, or both. Is Clemson the most disappointing team in America, or if Pitt runs it out, if they run it all the way out in this dead body ACC league, the whole thing is just dead. It's guys just teeth knocked out all over the place. Should they have a seat in the playoff? Take whichever one or both.
Good God. Should they have a seat? No. I mean, not just
Western Michigan, so no.
They what?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they lost to Western Michigan.
Well, hell no, I ain't taking that. You try to set me up, G. I'm looking.
You're gonna let a little thing like that bother you? You're gonna let a little thing like that bother you?
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule. I didn't even know what the damn logo was, so I just blew by it. Didn't even look at the damn outcome. Hell no, they ain't. I don't give a damn what they do from here on out. Yes, Clemson is the most disappointing team in the country. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, we were talking about Clemson maybe being the top program in the country above Alabama. I mean, that's the conversation we were having. And now they've completely shit the bed. I mean, and I do think there's some credence to what Hack is saying. I mean, you look at the 2 losses that Clemson's had. They give up 27 points. They gave up 13 points in overtime in their first loss against, I think it was NC State, right? I mean, not that doesn't happen, but we're talking about the almighty Clemson, the NFL player factory down there. They usually lock up shop in overtime if you get there. And quite frankly, this is a year when you don't have Trevor Lawrence. You don't have Deshaun Watson. You got a young quarterback that nobody knows who the hell he is. Now we know a little bit more about him. And so you got to lean on the defense. And they had some great games. They've done good, I think, in big picture. But in the couple of games that they've lost, I mean, I think there's an argument there to say that, hey, the defense wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't great because Clemson, the expectations are to be great.
But let me ask you this. With an offense underperforming so badly, how great must you be to keep a team in the game for 4 quarters?
You got to be great, though.
We can't crown their ass when they got Heisman Trophy winners over there and All-Americans running down the damn sideline and the offense is lighting it up, and we crown their ass as the best defense in America, and all of a sudden you don't have that luxury of having a Heisman Trophy quarterback and having an all-world offense, we got to hold you to a different standard. Now the shit's on you. It's on you to do something. And look, I'm not saying I agree with your overall point of Clemson. Their defense, statistically and big picture, 30,000-foot view, they've done good. They've had a good year. Right. But to Hack's point, in their 2 losses, they give up 27, 28 points. Yeah. I mean, it's not terrible.
But that's games they're accustomed to scoring 40, 45,
that's my whole point. Is the last
George,
8 years.
George,
but that's what I'm saying, though.
Linebacker if you're going to go out there and score 44.
But that's what I'm saying. This team is built to play with a lead on defense. They ain't really
every team is, though. That's the thing. And I would love actually to see stats on how many 3-and-outs and how many turnovers they got this year as opposed to last. Again, I'm going to go ahead and combine 8 because with Deshaun and Trevor, they were just a different group. But still, I mean, Trevor in his freshman year took into the playoffs. I mean, I watched them in Dallas put up 45 on Notre Dame. I mean, just beat the crap out of them.
But watch
it's a different game.
If you attached Georgia's defense and UConn's offense and put them on a bus and took them around and played folks and said to UConn's offense, just don't turn it over. Don't go nuts. If one happens, look, and the kicking game.
I'm telling you what, nobody's scoring 27. I promise you that.
That's and honestly, 27. And that's how special Georgia is.
Amazing.
That's how special.
What's interesting is it took them 4 games to let 27 points go. NC State was 4 games in. So you start doing that. Hey, Normatex and Coal Machines don't do that good when you got 95 plays on the field 4 games in a row.
Hey, George, I'm going to answer your question. Hell yes, Clemson is the most disappointing team in America. And I can't even think of a team that's a close second, to be completely honest with you. And I owe you one. I owe you 2, actually. You talked about how old my ass was last time I was on with you, George, indirectly. And now you tried to set me up with who the hell was that? Who was that they played?
Western
WMU. Western Michigan.
A solid program.
What are they?
I'm sure they're
Stallions or Mustangs or something like that.
They play good football up there.
I'm sure you're a solid guy, George, but you asked him to set me up twice. You're 2 for 2.
All right. You. So let me give you this back. Pitt has been led this year by a 5th-year senior in Kenny Pickett. Let's go into it. When you watch the game, I know you guys had a chance to jump in and jump out of the game. The biggest value, and I'll never forget what David Shaw told me about Andrew Luck. I asked him about luck and this and that, and he goes, it ain't statistics. It's not even his skill set. He said, being a veteran quarterback, his last year at Stanford, he said his charge, and he accepted it, was mitigating damage. Keep us out of bad plays. Get us the right checks at the line. If the pocket breaks down, run it or get rid of the ball. Eliminate sacks. Andrew Luck got sacked 6 times his senior season. And yeah, they had some big dog offensive linemen, but they were also going up against those real Trojan teams. I see that with Kenny Pickett. When you watch him, he'll move up in the pocket. He'll scramble just enough. He'll throw the ball to guys that are open, but he'll keep him what we call customer service. Throw a ball he can keep moving with. You're going to throw me a back shoulder ball? Throw me a ball that only I can get, and if I can't get it. Pitt has leveraged his experience all season, to the exception of Western Michigan, Bryce. All season.
I mean, they still scored points. It wasn't on them, I don't think. And that wasn't. But keep going.
But I'm just simply saying this is the value in this microwave world we have right now with youngsters, and I'm a star and I'm out. Is it 3 years yet? Boom, I'm gone. Pickett, another year of the COVID season, says I'm coming back. He could have probably jumped last year. He'd be holding somebody's clipboard. Instead, he opted for more flight hours to lead another offense, and look what they're doing. It's paying off. Where do you guys put him right now in terms of his performance of quarterbacks nationwide, a seat in New York, possibly the draft, and definitely the playoffs? Start with you, Bryce.
Oh, thank you. Look, there's no doubt. I mean, look, statistically wise, what he's doing is really impressive.
It's such good manners.
And look, to your point, he's being productive and not detrimental to the offense. He got 21 touchdowns and 1 pick.
Wow.
That's a hell of a stat. That's a really good stat. And then the other thing too, man, you have to. I love this. I love this when you talk about quarterbacks too. Is there are certain times where just everything is coming to a point. There is the quarterbacks that ride that wave best are the ones that do and again are instrumental in a production again that carries them way further than probably them as an individual could. So what I mean by that is 9 of 11 starters are either redshirt juniors, seniors, or transfers.
Wow.
Right. That's really interesting to me that look, you can, and I think he is a great quarterback. Watching him distribute the football, he's got an ownership of the game. He executes, he puts him in great situations, throws the customer service ball like you were talking about. But at the same time too, this offense is really riding this wave of maturity and of success on the idea that, man, we've been playing a lot of ball. And that right there in and of itself is a beautiful thing. I'm not knocking him for that because that's it. Look, you still have to go out and execute, but at the same time, man, when your offense is riding with that many guys that have had years under their belt, a lot of battles won, battle tested, that whole thing, man, just keep riding it. Just don't get in its way, keep distributing. And I think that's what he's doing. And that's going to set himself up for the draft, possibly for New York if they keep coming. And guys, I mean, can we look at the fact that the ACC, if it were to be done today, is Wake Forest versus Pitt? I mean, there's not even soccer, I don't even think, gets ACC. Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude, we can toast that. That's incredible. So it's unique in the world of again, these big Power 5 conferences that continue to get recruits, wins, playoff appearances. You have the ACC that has Pitt and Wake Forest as it sits today playing for the ACC championship.
Handle it. Business. Hey, I'm not even going to wait. Hack, I know you would have said something incredible about Pickett, you too, Clint. Let's go straight to it. For all of you at home, pull up your YouTube or your Twitter browser and put in DJ reacts to the 27-17 loss at Pitt. This is one of college football's biggest stars. We read, seen all about him all offseason, and rightfully so. He did a great job in some cameos last year for Trevor. On the road against Notre Dame, gets a big win, 400 yards in his first home start when Trevor caught COVID. Then all the buildup was for him. And then the NIL hits, and he is the poster boy, him and his guy in Norman, Oklahoma. Ironically, both these guys are struggling, and both of them got benched. Go to the interview. I'm just going to read out 3 quotes, and I'm just going to throw it right to you. Clint, I'm going to start with you, Hack and Bryce. One reporter asked him, I'm being 4-3 right now. My man said, it is what it is. We can't do anything about it. The question about being a starter, Dabo Swinney commented after the game, and he said, hey, every job's open. The guys that perform and this, that, and the other, we'll see. But every single job's open. A reporter said, what happens if you're not the starter? DJ, I'm happy to support my brother. If he does get in and play, I'll be excited for him. Nobody's earned it more. Last question. In regards to the shuffle pass interception, he had a play in the game, midfield, where he was really kind of sloppy and he kind of half threw it, a shuffle pass to the line of scrimmage. Well, the D tackle caught it, took it straight back 50 yards for a touchdown. He said, my hat's off to him. That was a great play. I already know how I feel, and I'll hold mine to the back end. Clint, I'm going to start with you. That is the leader of your powerhouse, Power 5 national championship caliber program. That's the leader. That's not a guy in the locker room, let alone that would be a situation too. But that's the tip of the spear. When you hear those comments, and we've talked about how Clemson's played this year, where are you right now if you're Dabo Swinney, home with a cold one, doing like this, looking over your program? Where are you right now?
Well, I'm going to answer that two-part. Number one, he ain't the leader. Number two, he ain't the tip of the spear. If those are his words, which I saw the video, he ain't neither.
But he is by position. Hold on. I agree with you. He's not acting like it. But the quarterback, just by position, you are that.
Oh, I agree. I agree with your point, and I agree with the expectations that have been placed upon the young man. Right. But unfortunately, if those are his answers to those specific questions, he ain't cut out to be the quarterback at Clemson. He ain't cut out to be the leader of a bunch of grown-ass men in a locker room. He's not cut out to be the tip of a spear of a program that some say, once again, 6 months ago, is above Alabama in terms of ranked programs in the country. I mean, so to me, there's so many ifs, ands, or buts that we can talk about. He ain't the leader. He ain't the tip of the spear. And if you want to know what's wrong with Clemson, the most disappointing program in America today, put that damn YouTube right there on repeat. And I'm not blaming it on the kid because it is what it is. You can only be who you genuinely and sincerely are. But ultimately, that is a problem if that is your leadership, if that's the response. There's a handful of things, and nobody knows this more than the guys that I'm staring at right here on this pod. There's a handful of things that you have to have if you're going to be a bad son of a bitch at the college level at the quarterback position. One of them is an unhealthy competitive gene. You have to hate to lose, and that includes losing your spot as the number one quarterback with one of the greatest programs over the last 15 years in college football. You have to hate it. You have to hate the guy that took it. You have to absolutely be chomping at the bit to get back on the practice field and be willing to tell anybody in America you'll do anything to go get that job back. And if you don't have that competitive gene, then your ass ain't cut out to be quarterback at a high level. Your talent may take you there, but you'll never play above your ceiling. The guys around you will never play above their ceiling, which ultimately the great quarterbacks do. And that's just, to me, that's what I personally think about the words that I heard from that quarterback. If you're the head coach, Dabo Swinney, you got to look in the mirror, man. You got to look in the mirror. You're responsible to develop that young man. And if you've developed a young man that don't care that the backup is starting, come on, man. You either recruited the wrong personality or haven't developed him to be the most competitive dude in the room. And I don't know how you win ball games with that.
Hack to that point exactly. Clint just put it on Dabo's table. You played for Bill O'Brien and Todd Bowles. How would they handle the kids' breakdown of the day and the circumstances?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because had he been handling business the way that he's probably capable of and Clemson's capable of, probably 2 of the 3 questions you had wouldn't have been asked, right?
Good point.
He's a good kid, and that's how he answered it. But to Clint's point, I don't need a good kid. When my back's against the wall and I'm in the situation that Clemson's in, I don't need a good kid. I need someone who's a killer. I need someone who's going to lead men and who has a competitive edge and a attitude about attacking the situation in a completely different manner than DJ is. And again, that may be who he is and that may be how he's doing it. But then again, he may not be the guy for the job. And that's the hard part about it. And that's just what it is. But where Clemson's at right now and the state of the program and the way he's answering things, I'm putting the guy that is the meanest son of a gun in that quarterback room on the field and just letting him go lead the guys, play scrappy, win ugly. I don't care. But the guy who's going to be willing to lay everything on the line. And I haven't seen that from DJ this year in terms of lay everything on the line, leave his guts on the field. That's all he's got. I haven't seen DJ do that this year. And I think that's a product of what led to today, him getting put on the bench. And then the way he answered it, I just don't know if he has that in him. And I hope he proves me wrong. I'm always the guy that hopes these kids have a ton of success and go do it. But he's going to have to do that to me. He's going to have to prove me wrong at that point in time.
Bryce Petty, your doorbell rings. It's DJ. He's got a 6-pack. He says, "Hey, Bryce, you got a minute?" What was so big about how I handled that today? What was so big about that? I'm not the only 5-star on this squad. I don't call the plays. What would you try to break down to him? Like you just said, like Hack just said, he is a great dude. But the great dude deal is cool if it's lined up next to a killer, all in the same chest. Walk us through how you would handle a youngster whose shoes you've had on before.
Yeah, well, what's I think particularly interesting about this conversation, and George, you know, because you worked with me before, is I leaned way more to his side of being too nice. And look where I'm at. I'm talking about football, right? So being in a situation to have a 6-pack.
Well, wait,
with
time
DJ
out for a
on
second.
The couch.
Let me just pause you for a second. And just full transparency, I've known Bryce since he's a junior in high school. I met him at the Nebraska football camp, and we have worked through his whole career, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you played with broken ribs. You jumped in the middle of fights in your locker room. You've gone on the road, been cussed at, same with your teammates.
Yeah. And
then from Baylor, wearing Baylor colors in the Big Ten, you had back-to-back conference championships. Yes, you're a nice guy, but you have to be a killer to do all those things. Baylor hadn't won the conference championship since you left.
Yeah.
That's just not a thing you do at Baylor. That's what you guys did at Baylor. So I just wanted to set this correctly. There are some similars between you and DJ. Yours are settled and in stone. His have yet to be determined, but what we're seeing right now isn't close to what we know of yours. I'm just going to set that.
Yeah. Well, no, I appreciate it. So the idea going or leading it that way was to say that between those white lines, no one gives two shits if you're nice. Dabo does not give two shits if you're nice. The head coach on that side, the QB that's got you circled going, you got $1 million from Dr. Pepper. Why? I'm going to go out there and kick your ass. That type of mentality works great back in the dorm when you're grabbing wings with the boys, whatever. Between those white lines, and you know, Clint pointed out, I think we all know it too, all of us playing ball, the only thing that matters in the world of football between those white lines is, can you win? Can you elevate the group and the team around you to get a win? And when you start a game, any game, doesn't matter, junior high, high school, college, it is all about the win. So as a teammate, if I see in the interview where you perceptionally, right, as a perception, do not care, one, that you didn't get the win, two, that you're not even out there, and then three, you don't own up to your part of a pick and what inevitably was a pick six that was a big part of that game. Man, we're gonna have to need. We're probably gonna need a 30-pack because we're gonna need to sit and talk about do you love this so much? Do you want to be here? If you don't want to be here and you just want to be a nice guy, man, there's plenty of nice guys in the world. That's fine. But look, man, life ain't nice just because you're nice. You know, there's going to be some shit that happen, and you're going to have to. I need to know whether or not you're a teammate, whether or not a spouse, a father. You know, I need to know that you're going to fight. You can still be nice, but there's going to be a day where, you know, hey, if you know, old Timmy takes my daughter's lunch money, I'm going to be banging on Timmy's door and saying, hey, get Timmy out here because he owes my daughter some lunch money. You got to know that you have that in you.
So this is a awkward timeout, but we got to call this timeout. We're going to move from performing and having balls when you're out there to keeping them clean and Manscaped. We're just gonna just jump to it. Dagan, I got you.
That's a great jump. That's a great jump. There you go.
So,
ISO. Play one.
And Clint, Hack, and Bryce, be ready because I'm dishing on this. Support for today's episode of After Dark College Football Field of 12 comes from Manscaped, the world leader in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped has just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.10 Hackenberg. It's a sleek, well-designed, and precision-engineered trimmer, and I got to tell you, I was blown away by the performance. The way Manscaped engineered the ultimate growing and body trimmer is simple. They focused on intelligent functionality and providing the comfortable grooming experience. The Lawnmower 4.0 Hackenberg was developed with the trademark skin-safe technology, which includes a cutting-edge ceramic blade that reduces snags and nicks. Right, Bryce? You need to be confident in any tool you use on the old family jewels. Manscaped, as held up there by Clint, features the Lawnmower 4.0, also has a 4000K LED spotlight. So you see what the hell you're doing.
Yep.
An attachment that allows you to change the length of your trim and a wireless charger. Most importantly, you want to make sure you're not using the same trimmer on your nuts as your face. That's just nasty.
Can't do that.
So head on over to manscaped.com where you'll get 20% off, free shipping with the codes. I'm going to give you those codes right now. Field of 12 After Dark. Put in 20 dark, all caps, for your 20% off and free shipping. Put in 20 dark, all caps. For SEC Primetime, the code is Primetime, all caps, Primetime. For Trevor and Bryce, the code is TBS20, all caps. For one-on-ones, the code is 1, all caps. And for the JP and Hack show, it's JP Hack, all caps. So Manscaped, handle your business. As a future user of Lawnmower 4.10, trust me, I will come back and tell you that my balls feel great. Thank you. Manscaped.
Hey, real quick, George, somebody on the chat was talking about why is that guy so angry? Talking about me, of course, because it ain't y'all are all smiling.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the deal. Before I got Manscaped, I may have nicked my balls, and it's still a little bit uncomfortable. So
Nicks
hey, I'm a little angry tonight, but I've got my Manscaped now, so it won't happen again.
Hold the shirt up again. We got to show them love. Hold the shirt up again.
No question.
It's a great t-shirt, great fit.
We don't need you to show the results.
It's a great cut. It's cozy.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Nice, good. Yeah, good material.
Look at that.
There's nothing wrong about manscaping. There's nothing wrong about manscaping.
No, you just want to do it right.
The new way.
That's true.
We do live in a world where people would appreciate the fact that your balls are trimmed up. I had a buddy of mine back in the day, guys. He was kind of in the streets. He was kind of in the streets a bit, and he was y'all can all relate to. He was a D lineman, kind of a smaller frame D lineman. So if y'all are picking up what I'm putting down, and we were just having a conversation one day, and trimming came up, and I said, man, if you clean that thing up a little bit, people appreciate it. The gals will appreciate it.
But you're saying that hypothetically, right? That's not eyes on the situation. That's like a hypothetical coaching point.
Well, I mean, I've showered with a million men in my life. It's not like I've never seen Welcome to the Jungle. All right, my man.
El Presidente.
Look, hell, it is what it is. Any grown man that tells you he showered with a million and never looked at a piece, he's lying to you. You better worry about it. But my boys, I said, hey man, bro, you're out in them streets a little bit, man. You got to trim that. You got to trim that stuff up, man. He said, all right, yeah. He's kind of embarrassed. Man, 2 days later, my man came back in there. He looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy, but that thing was cleaned up. He said, man, Clint, Man,
Okay.
that thing looks bigger too.
So,
God.
grab this.
To me, that's the tagline. That's the
Hey.
Manscaped. That's the tagline. Your balls will thank you is not the tagline. It looks bigger too. That's the tagline.
Manscaped. Trust me, it'll look bigger.
It'll look bigger.
my gosh.
Oh,
Hey, that's a true story.
hey,
Hey, that's a true story from the late 90s, baby. I ain't gonna
That's
put you
it.
out there, Kurt, but there you go.
so the executives at Manscaped, you're welcome. You're welcome. A little free
Oh,
marketing
that's
from,
good.
Endorsement.
that's some
Hey,
free
man, I
marketing
hope that's got a
from some
couple
quarterbacks.
of
You're welcome
of
there.
buys
Let me
there,
go
yeah.
ahead and grab the steering wheel on this thing and keep our lady viewers with us. It's time to
hell,
make a
hey,
case.
Hey, George, let's be honest. Them beautiful ladies out there, they're elbowing their old man. So, hey, get
Let
over
him
here and
know.
check these- Hey, these
Okay,
guys are
I feel
awesome.
That's it. That
Hey, these are some of the best
That Christmas order is coming up.
Yeah, that's a
Your boy
stocking stuffer for
Bielema's
sure.
your boy Bielema's getting a couple elbows in the ribs right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, hell no. I bet Bielema. Hey, I bet Bielema is scalped. Hey, Bielema been scalped since before he got hired by Arkansas, baby.
Oh gosh.
All right. So
Oh, shit.
transitioning on over to make a case. We're gonna make a case now. Let's ease on back to ball. Balls are situated. Let's ease on back to football. Let's make a case for 4 programs right now. There are 4 programs. They may not be inside, but they're basically bubble teams. They're lurking. Michigan, Wake Forest, Notre Dame, and Pitt. Let's start with the Michigan Wolverines. Hack, I know it's a blood rival, but you do represent the region. Make a case for the Michigan Wolverines right now, crashing the party and solidifying a seat.
Yeah, I'll talk about them bad boys. One thing I will say, I love the way Michigan's playing right now. And we've talked about this both on my podcast with JP and here. I'm seeing a different edge with this team when they play. Watching the game today, it was a slow start. Second half, they came out. They had some kill in them. So just watching football games and being able to feel the flow of it, you see a little bit of different shit to them. But diving a little bit deeper, I think their special teams are really good, which is a big bonus that oftentimes gets overlooked in all of football. I think their defense is very good. And I think their run game can travel with anybody. What I feel that they are lacking in, and we kind of were hitting on this prior to this show, is whether it's a product of the fact that they don't trust their trigger man and Cade McNamara right now to be able to run a possession passing game, or whether they don't feel they have a guy on the outside who can separate consistently to be able to give them the ability to do so. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'm just going to go ahead and label this blanket statement, easy label, is I don't think they have elite quarterback play, and I don't think they have an elite level of possession passing game to be able to carry them through if the run game is not necessarily firing on all cylinders. I think there's a heavy reliance on play action, shot plays, all off of their passing game is off of their run game, which isn't a bad thing to have, but you also got to be able to facilitate every now and again on 3rd and 8.
Hack,
and that's where I
question.
see Michigan.
Hack, quick question. If the Wolverines fall behind to one of these other monsters that is down the schedule, if they fall behind 14, can they run them down?
Well, we're going to find out. That's the beautiful thing about the Big Ten right now is we're going to find out. All these teams, even Penn State, as disappointed as I am and as hurt as I am right now, Penn State, Michigan, Michigan State, and Ohio State,
it's all
everything's in front of them. It's all right here. Similar to how Clint was talking about Oklahoma and what they got heading down the pike, the Big Ten's got that tenfold. So I'm really excited to see about Michigan. And how they fall in place, if they can get over that hump, if they can beat Penn State, if they can beat Ohio State. That's ultimately what they got to do.
Bryce Petty, I'm going to put you on a private jet from Colleyville, Texas to Wake Forest, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Make the case. Make the case for the undefeated, undisputed ACC, possible coastal champs in the Wake Forest Demon Deacons getting a seat, a coveted seat in the playoffs. Make the case.
Yeah, well, I think the first case is Dave Clawson, their head coach, has been there for 8 years, recruited me to go to Tennessee.
Hey, raise a glass, raise a glass.
Man, I tell you what, that was.
I like them little home stories.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. And Fulmer just signed a 7-year extension back in 09, 08. But look,
Hey, I got
him
him that extension. I got him that extension.
Well, you didn't help him keep it, I guess.
Well, mine was in '98, so you're right. I got him the extension before, and the sorry somebody didn't even send me a ring. Hey, they didn't send me no damn McDonald's bag. They didn't send me no damn championship ring.
The bag man missed you. The bag man.
Nothing.
Hey, I knew we were
connected
somehow.
T. Martin, I've done more for that university than anybody. Maybe Peyton.
Maybe Peyton. Go ahead,
Did we just become best friends? Not only is my man sipping Clase Azul, which is my favorite. Thank you.
Wow. Shit.
But so look, man, Dave Clawson's got him rolling, and Warren Rosario, who's been with them for a while. This was interesting, actually, looking up their stats, man. They set. I didn't even realize this, but there's 300 records that they've set. I didn't even know you could set that many records at Wake Forest. So the guys got something rolling in the offensive side of the room. So 4 of the last 5 seasons, they're setting school records on offense, which is a beautiful thing. Sam Hartman is actually a sophomore. So dude's already got a lot of play under his belt, got a lot more. He actually had the story on ESPN today, which is a beautiful story. If you guys didn't get a chance to catch it, man, he's got a tremendous heart. And I like Hart, and I like that he's playing for something. He's playing for purpose.
I got to call the unconventional timeout because, Bryce, I'm looking at our feed. People are asking flat out, Bryce Petty, how will Wake Forest get into the playoff? How will they get into and everything Bryce Petty, mind you, go to Bryce Petty. It's at Bryce Petty at Twitter.
Okay.
And at Bryce Petty.
Okay. Look, so this is hard for me right now because I've yet to watch a Wake Forest game. I thought there was 2 R's in Forest until tonight. So that's we're moving along. But here's the thing. Look, you've got Duke. You are at UNC, who has proven nothing this year. You got NC State at home. You've got at Clemson, who we just talked about is in a massive debacle. And then you've got at BC. So I think your schedule sets up for you to run the table. And if you have offense, which is what I was setting up until this unconventional 30-second timeout, what happened? If you have offense, defense will get you there. I think in this conference right now, you got no defense that's in front of you that we just talked about with Hack outside of Clemson that can really slow those guys down. And they got Clemson at home. So to me, they've got enough firepower, at least, ammo in the clip there, to take out 5 ACC opponents and then roll into Charlotte for the ACC championship and make some moves.
So they got to win the ACC is what you're saying.
That's 100% what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that their schedule allows them to do that in kind of a convincing way. So that's, in my light research, thank you, Dagan, for making me pick for it. And have to debate something I don't necessarily know if I absolutely believe in. But you have Sam Hartman, who's your undoubted leader, who actually is excited about playing quarterback. You have Dave Clawson, who's been there, done that. So I think you have the pieces in play. That's what I was kind of gearing up for. And now you've got a schedule that lets you do it. Clint, I will divert to you.
Clint, we're going now. I'm going to put you on a nice, what you want, a G4, G5? What you need, Clint? I'm going to get you.
Man, it don't matter, man. Just get me on a steel bird, man. Give me a little something to drink in there and some good shit to talk. We can go to first, baby. I ain't in no hurry. The days are over.
Got him something to sip. Probably want a little DMX playing low in the background.
Now you do it. That's so good. That's so good.
I got
DMX will work. So
you are representing Notre Dame Nation. You have 1 loss this season, and it's the number 2 current team in the nation right now in Cincinnati.
We are.
Make the case. Make the case. Why will Notre Dame make it into the playoffs?
Well, I mean, here's the deal. Cincinnati's going to lose a ball game. And, even though Cincinnati's already beaten Notre Dame, that's going to put Notre Dame above them because they're the Golden Domers. We all know what the college football playoff committee is going to do with that right there. That's a no-brainer.
It's about money and fan base.
In fact, they may do it. They may do it even with Cincinnati running the table. I'm talking about leaving them out of the college football playoffs, not have Notre Dame jumping them. Easy, Bryce.
Confident.
Hey, you got to take that green ass hat off. You gonna do that right there? Hey,
you really took the assignment to heart.
No. I think there's a really good chance. In fact, I'd probably bet on it, even though I probably shouldn't because I ain't real lucky. But there's a really good chance Cincinnati undefeated gets left out of this thing. However, back to Notre Dame, I think there's a real good chance that Cincinnati loses a ball game. I think that it's going to take a lot of football teams ahead of Notre Dame to lose a ball game. And
it's a hell of an argument, by the way.
What's that?
This is a hell of an argument.
Well, you argued for 30 minutes on shit that don't matter. Wake Forest needs everybody else to lose a ball game, Bryce. Damn. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to tell you. I mean, they're sitting at 13 right now with a loss to number 2. They got to have a whole lot of people lose some ball games, and outside of them being the Golden Dome, and they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. If they can just get close, right? If they can just get close to the Final Four and get in the conversation, if they're in the top 6 at the end of the year, there's a really good chance that they could slide into this thing. Look, there's nothing on their schedule left that I can tell you that's going to get them into the college football playoffs. All I can tell you is there's several teams above them that have monsters on their schedule, like Penn State, who lost today, but like
Ohio
Michigan,
State,
like Ohio State, like Oklahoma State. Like, there's a ton of schools ahead of them that have to play some other monsters. And so just with a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they're gonna climb. They're going to climb the rankings already, and all they got to do is get to 6, and I think they'll get the benefit of the doubt to possibly get in. There's nothing I can tell you about Notre Dame, make an argument about Notre Dame on the field or schedule-wise that's going to get them from 12 to the top 4. Guys, it's going to take somebody else mixing this thing up. The truth of the matter is that I remember, and I believe it was the first college football playoffs, I remember Ohio State getting beat early in the year by a 6-6 at home, by the way, by a 6-6 Virginia Tech team, and still getting the benefit of the doubt and getting in.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Notre Dame, it's where you're at in November. I would agree with that. Yeah.
And it's where you're at, and Cincinnati can't be bad enough right now for their one loss to keep them out. Is my point. So there's a lot of things also with the conference ties. Like the fact that they have no conference ties, I think bodes well for them, right? If it comes up against them and 2 Big Ten teams or them and two SEC teams, I think Notre Dame gets in, no brainer. So there's some things there that are really out of their control or already decided that can help them get into the college football playoffs. But there's nothing about Brian Kelly or Notre Dame that's going to convince anybody between now and then that they belong.
So, real quick, George, before you hit this. So
how you like that argument, Bryce? How you like that argument, Bryce?
I mean, hell, you just sat there and told us 4 different times that there's nothing you can tell me to get us in there. So, but if we do have, because it was an interesting point, if you do have, say that Cincinnati does run the table, right? They basically at this point, they only have SMU, I think, that's ranked, right? And they're going to have them at home. So they got 1 game left to go win. But say that they run the table and they're still sitting at 2. You know, so you got Georgia at 1, Cincy at 2. I don't think it's going to happen, but just for argument's sake, say that you got Oklahoma that runs the table. So Oklahoma's in at 3. And then you have Alabama, which is 1 loss, and then Notre Dame sitting at 5.
You just left out the entire Big Ten.
Yeah,
100%.
Unbelievable.
I know I did. So do you think, I'm just going off of AP top 25 right now. Alabama's number 4. Sorry.
Yeah.
So the idea is, do you think that Notre Dame sitting at 5 in that scenario will jump Cincinnati when Cincinnati beat them at Notre Dame?
Well,
That's to you, Clint.
Say it again.
God dang it.
Peter's on my case over here talking about shaving balls. What is it?
look, let's
Go
just
ahead,
say
George.
they're going to need help. Let me make this case while we still got the good people with us. Clint made great points on Notre Dame, and he's
I
right.
appreciate that, George. Thank you, George. I appreciate that.
You are
We ain't
great
got no
points.
shot in hell unless 9 people in front of us just basically fall off the face of the earth. But look, if that happens, we'll get in there.
But the
What,
great
you want me to lie to you, Bryce?
But listen,
You
the
be lying
great
to
Bryce
you? Give
Petty,
me a good reason. Give me something other than what I said.
That was your assignment. That ain't my assignment. That was your assignment.
Yeah, but the great Bryce Petty started this whole podcast off by saying nobody's safe. That's the killer part. And now he says, I don't think anybody's going to lose. That's real strange. That's real strange. So I have taken on Pitt, the Pitt Panthers. I've taken on the Pitt Panthers, and this is their case. And I'm going to make it simple. Starts out, they got to run the table. And this is what they're looking at on the field. Home against the Hurricanes, win. At Duke, they'll get them. Nice showdown November 11th against the Tar Heels. Sam Howell will be coming in there. They get him. Virginia and Syracuse, one's on the road, one's at home. They get him. So that's 5 games. They got to run the table. Anything in between that, they don't make it. Any overtime wins, I don't think they make it. Now, even an undefeated Pitt or a one-loss Pitt versus an undefeated Oklahoma or an undefeated Cincinnati, they're out. So if those 2 programs run the table, they're out. They're already out. That's 5 games. It's too tough of a loss with the 3-point loss at Western Michigan, a funky game, 44-41. They're out. This is what needs to happen for Pitt to do something. They really want to do something. You need chaos in the Big 12. You need all those top teams to have at least 1 loss. And you need Oklahoma to look really vulnerable. No undefeateds can come out of a Power 5 league for you as Pitt. You can't have any. You're closer if Cincinnati stumbles. You're closer. You need Cincinnati to lose. Even with all of that, to Clint's point, the committee has shown they'll throw the rankings out. Pardon all my Portuguese. They'll throw the rankings out. A 1-loss Pitt team, and that loss is to Western Michigan. And here comes another SEC program or an Ohio State team that didn't make it into the Big Ten championship, but they still only have 1 loss. You're out.
I think to add to that, you got to have Wake Forest run the table too. That's the only other thing I'd add to that.
That's what I said.
Wake Forest loses,
have a quality win.
Loses your conference championship is bullshit. So yeah, I think you got to have Wake Forest in that boat as well.
That's a good point.
So for those people at home, Dan Marino and Aaron Donald, and there's still a chance. There's still a chance. Hey, for Clint, for Hackenberg, for Bryce Petty, we enjoy rocking with you. Hope you had a chance to kind of get in, get some ball. Next week, we're going to pull up more of your questions. But until then, George Whitfield, College Football, Field of 12 After Dark show. Thank you for joining us. Catch you next week.